From Faith Forward Media, this is Healthcare Musings. I'm Dr. Hassaballa. Welcome to Healthcare Musings. Happy to have you with me. All right, this is part 3 of the Sleep in the ICU series, and now we're going to zoom out and talk about healthy sleep habits for everyone, right? It's just a natural kind of extension of the Sleep in the ICU series. So, last time we talked about how we can promote better sleep for our patients in the ICU who are not necessarily intubated and on mechanical ventilation and everything like that. And then because I'm a sleep specialist, I'm board certified sleep medicine specialist, it just makes sense for me to talk about what are good sleep habits. Because again, like we talked about in the beginning, poor sleep is conducive to poor health. If you are chronically sleep deprived, it is very bad for you physically, mentally. It makes you crave simple sugars, which can lead to weight gain, which can lead to diabetes, which can lead to sleep apnea, which can lead to worsening sleep, and it's a vicious cycle. So it's really important that you get good sleep and you don't skimp on sleep. So here are some healthy sleep habits that you can incorporate to help you get as best sleep as possible. And I'll put this link in the show notes as well. Number one, first thing is you need to keep a consistent sleep schedule. If at all, now we know life is hectic. There are days where you have to stay up later for work or prepare for a family gathering or a vacation or whatever. But in general, it's very important to keep a consistent sleep schedule. Go to bed at the same time every day and get up at the same time every day. Now, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine says even on weekends or during vacations. Okay, practically, if you can make up some of that time on the weekend, that should be fine. I mean, I do. Like if I have a week of nights in the ICU where I'm really not getting good enough sleep, I definitely make for it on the weekend. If this is a consistent habit for years and years, I can understand that that's not really a good idea. At the same time, for the most part, try to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time, and try to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Very important. For most adults, 7 to 8 hours is the right number. There are some adults that can do fine in 6 hours. There are other adults that can't function in less than 9 hours. Those are on the fringes. Most people, the average is 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and you should continue to try to get that. Again, vacation, if you make up, look, when I go on vacation, I sleep in all the time, try to get as much rest as possible. And I guess that should be okay. For the most part, have a consistent bedtime and a consistent wake-up time. The next thing, don't go to bed if you're not sleepy. In fact, I remember learning that if you are in bed, if you sleep for 8 hours, but you're in bed for 10, right, and you have choppy sleep, it's total 8 hours, but it's choppy, that's worse than having a consistent solid block of 8 hours in bed. And so if you're not sleepy, don't go to bed. This can be a problem, right? And I've seen patients in my practice who, as we get into adolescence, our sleep phase, our sleep cycle tends to move later. We tend to want to stay up later and then get up later. That's the typical normal sleep phase change for adolescents. The problem is when you can't adjust that when you start working. You finish college or you're in college and now you have to get up at 6 in the morning to get to work by 8 or 9. And some people have this delayed sleep phase. It's called delayed sleep phase syndrome, where their sleep phase is actually 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. They feel great. If they can sleep 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day, fantastic. The problem is they have to be at work at 9, and so they go 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or to 7 a.m., and they're exhausted. And there are strategies in order to treat that. If you have a job that can accommodate your 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. sleep phase, great. Most people's jobs can't. For the most part, though, don't go to bed if you're not sleepy. You should only go to bed if you are sleepy. Now, when you get into bed and you don't fall asleep after about 20 minutes, get up out of bed. Go do something else without a lot of light exposure. Okay, it's if you could try to avoid, which is easier said than done. Try to avoid electronics, your phone, your iPad, your computer. Even better, go read, go do something like that with not a lot of light exposure until you get sleepy, and then come back to bed. When you are sleepy. Our bed should not be our activity center where we do. Again, so many people do this, and I don't know how practical. I don't know how much people will follow this. At the same time, it is important that you should try to only reserve the bed for sleep, right? And not necessarily have your work at the end of the day in bed, because again, that is a miscue for your brain. Try to establish a relaxing bedtime routine. Try to shut down your brain as much as you can, which is why being on your electronics and doing all this work in bed is not necessarily good, right, for good sleep hygiene, right? Make sure that the bedroom is quiet. Keep the room temperature comfortable, right? Try to limit exposure to bright light in the evenings. Ideally, if you can shut your phone off half an hour before bedtime, even better. I don't know how many people do that. That would be the ideal. Try not to eat a large meal before bed. If you are hungry, maybe you want to eat a light snack. A lot of people, and I try not to eat right before going to sleep, just from a health and weight gain perspective, but try not to eat a large meal during bedtime, because that can disrupt sleep. Regular exercise and maintaining a healthy diet is very important to have good sleep hygiene. Caffeine has a half-life of about 9 hours, and I'll double check this right now. I'm looking half-life of caffeine. I'm pretty sure it's about no 5 to 6 hours. Okay, 5 to 6 hours in most healthy adults is the half-life. What is the half-life? Half-life is the time it takes for 50% of the caffeine level to be metabolized and get out of the body, okay? And in a principle of pharmacokinetics is that drugs are completely out of the system in 4 to 5 half-lives. So let's say it's 6 hours, right? 4 to 5 half-lives is 30 hours. So it takes 30 hours on average for caffeine to completely get out of the body. So if you have caffeine in the morning, 200 milligrams of caffeine in the morning, right, in 6 hours, it'll be, so say 8 a.m. By 4 p.m., you have 100 milligrams left in the body. And then by 10 p.m., you have 50 milligrams left in the body. That's the issue about caffeine. So if you're drinking caffeine all day, right, you're just cup after cup after cup of caffeinated coffee or tea or soda or whatever, it's definitely going to disrupt your sleep. So you try to have caffeine early in the morning, and then as much as you can avoid caffeine for the rest of the day, because it will disrupt sleep as night approaches. And I got to tell you personally, when I stop caffeine, my sleep is totally different. It's deeper. It's more profound. I dream better. So there's definitely an impact. So I love coffee. I drink coffee in the morning as best as possible. Try to avoid caffeine, especially in the afternoon or evening, because it will definitely disrupt sleep. And just try to get in your caffeine as early on in the day as possible, so that you can give it time to be metabolized, so it doesn't disrupt your sleep. Try to avoid consuming alcohol right before bedtime. Now, here's what alcohol does to sleep. Alcohol does induce slow wave sleep, and it does suppress REM sleep, the dreaming sleep. Slow wave sleep is that deep, refreshing sleep. Here's the problem. As the alcohol is metabolized, you get REM rebound. Okay? Whenever a drug suppresses REM sleep, as the drug gets metabolized, there is REM rebound. When you are sleep deprived and you sleep and you can get recovery sleep, you're going to get REM rebound. I see it all the time on people who have chronic sleep apnea, and then they go on CPAP and they finally get restful sleep. You see a huge uptick in REM rebound. The brain needs to make up the REM that it's lost. Because remember, when we talked about several episodes ago, when they REM deprived rats, they died after about 50 days. Right, so the brain needs to make up the REM sleep. So now, so you drink alcohol, okay, it can induce slow wave sleep. It makes you sleepy because it's a sedative. As the alcohol is metabolized, you get REM rebound. What's the problem with REM rebound? If you have sleep apnea, you're going to have worsening sleep apnea, and it's going to cause worsening sleep quality. You can get nightmares. The reason you're getting nightmares is because, most likely, is because you're getting REM rebound, right? So really, there's a lot of reasons why alcohol is not good for you. I'm just going to focus on sleep. Alcohol really is not a good way to help induce sleep. It's actually ultimately ends up disrupting sleep and makes you feel worse. Try to reduce your fluid intake right before bedtime. Because why? Because you're getting up and going to the bathroom a lot, and that multiple disruption, getting up and going to the bathroom, will disrupt sleep. A lot of people, especially older men with prostate issues, they're getting up multiple times at night to go to the bathroom. That's also disruptive of sleep. So these are some of the quick sleep tips for good sleep hygiene. And again, I'll post the link in the show notes. And just once again, sleep is super important for your health. Don't skimp it. It seems like we need 30 hours in a day to do the things that we need to do. We really shouldn't sacrifice sleep, especially as we're getting older. I'm really trying to focus as I'm getting older to focus on getting as much sleep as possible because it's super, super important. Anyway, thanks guys for your time and attention. And until next time, Hassaballa signing off on Healthcare Musings. Thank you for listening. Sign up at healthcaremusings.com to get every episode delivered directly to your email. And please don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much.